When we came up with the idea of the WTF episodes, the purpose was to make fun of the Star Trek episodes with ridiculous premises and ridiculous results. But for me, there was one episode I really wanted to do, to ask the series' question even more seriously. Of course, the episode we're talking about is from that mixed bag of half the potential WTF episodes in all of Star Trek, that is Season 1 of TNG. And to be more specific, it's the episode that Jonathan Frakes, back in 2011, decried as a, quote, racist piece of shit. So, we're really seriously asking the question today, what the f***, Star Trek? As we subject ourselves to the abomination known as Code of Honor. Mother... Oh, son of a... This is Treknicity. Welcome to Treknicity, a Star Trek podcast, where we do the deep dive on all things Star Trek. I'm your host, Patrick Murray, and with me for her first episode ever that we record, because Strange New Worlds is coming out next week, according when we record this, the lovely Kat Drake.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
You're excited, aren't you? Because this is like the first one we get to record. The first
Oh,
episode
hell
you'll
yeah.
appear in is going to be with the Strange New Worlds, and that is going to be awesome. But we'll get into the details when we record that one as to what's all up with the change, because, yeah, it makes more sense then.
Hell yeah, dude.
So, yeah. So let's see here. I think we're done with the pleasantries. Crap. In this episode, we're talking about the TNG Season 1 abomination that is Code of Honor. Suspect it might have been at least more interesting if they had thrown in a few racial slurs all throughout it. But between a predictable and uninteresting plot and the racism, well, no one likes this episode. So we're going to try to at least laugh about it or drink ourselves stupid after we had to deal with this.
Oh, dude.
So,
I watched it once immediately. I was like, nah, I brain bleach, please.
yeah.
Spock, do something.
Yeah. My bell that I usually use.
It was just instant. Like, my brain was just like,
So
why would you put yourself through this?
So yeah, tell us how we get to from point A to point racism.
Okay, so basic details about this absolute fucking dumpster fire of an episode. Apologies for the language drop.
We got bleepage.
It's the third official episode of the New Generation, which came after probably the worst two-parter that the New Generation has ever had.
It's not terrible. Encountered Farpoint's decent, but then it followed The Naked Now.
It was, yeah, which was arguably probably worse than this.
No. The Naked Now was stupid, but I'm sure that's going to get a WTF episode itself because
I mean,
functional, programmed in multiple techniques.
It is.
For that alone. And
that alone
would
and just be
a
crazy.
rehash. Oh, we're having this thing that happened on the first Enterprise. Except it's now the second or third or fourth, because we keep adding Enterprises.
No idea. There's been more Enterprises than there have been James Bonds.
Yeah. Could be worse. Could be worse. At least I'm sure they got better after this. Oh wait, no. The last outpost. Fringies and Silver Whips.
Yikes.
Okay. Continue with this.
No worries. So, this episode itself came out October 12th, 1987. It was written by Catherine Powers and Michael Barron. There were two directors for this episode, one of which has been forever banned from directing episodes.
That's arguably the racist Russ Mayberry?
Yep, it was. Our lovely friend Russ Mayberry was the original director for this episode, but due to how to put this?
He's the one that put the let's change it from reptilians to tribal Black
Traditional.
Africa.
Yep. So Russ Mayberry was the original director. Originally, when pitched, Catherine gave the idea for the Ligonians to actually be a race called the Trillions, and they were going to be a lizard humanoid species with a samurai-like honor code system. Unfortunately,
A little
Russ unfortunately, Russ Mayberry got his grubby little mitts on it before they could actually do it. And he made the executive decision to change it from Trillions to Ligonians, and instead of lizards, it was traditional African tribesmen. Uh,
Ugh.
it was
Yeah.
it was an absolute cluster truck.
Now, from what I understand, there were two options there. It was either he was did it because he's really a racist, or I think there was an allegation. I think it was Will Wheaton that said that he actually was racist to the cast that he brought on intentionally.
So that is actually something that a lot of people debate. There's multiple different anecdotes and stories from many different parties, so nobody can truly kind of give solid details on why this happened. Um, but there was the theory that he decided to go with the tribal African stereotype instead of the lizards to cut down on costs and try and make the makeup costs for the episode cheaper. His solution for this: recast all of them, and then fun little tidbit. He actually had the idea that all the Ligonians would have an artificial scar on either one or both of their cheeks, depending on whichever one they picked, basically. So you can notice it subtly in certain sections of the episode, but both the leader, his second in command, and a few other Ligonians, uh, primarily the men, not the women for some reason. Don't know why they did that. Um, but you can notice that there is an artificial scar on their cheek that
Yep.
kind of runs the length of it, which was
Yeah.
kind of interesting to find.
Yeah. At least they didn't.
uh,
At least they didn't slap on a different nose or something.
oh god, yeah. At least at least they didn't make them just full face makeup to change them. So in regards to our favorite little grubby gremlin, Russ Mayberry, Gene Roddenberry himself stepped in mid-episode and fired him due to massive concerns over the tone of the episode and also, like you said, Patrick, rumors of racist treatment of the cast.
Yeah.
So, due to Ross being fired, a first assistant named Les Landau stood in and took over as director for the episode, which is probably why it gets better later on. 'Cause it's like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah. And from what I understand, while the episode wasn't good, if you take the racist elements out of it, I think it's not the worst. It's not the worst idea for an episode.
Oh, definitely. Like that episode itself would probably be really, really great if they just didn't
Didn't do the
portray
race.
it in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like hell, you do that with some aliens? Mind blowing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, like you said, the lizard samurais, there'd have probably been some maybe complaints about borrowing from samurai culture a little bit, maybe, but at least
But it
there's that alien veneer that says, "Oh, this is not direct borrowing."
yeah, this isn't outright racism. This is just little bit of an adaptation.
Which, yeah, then you can argue says, yeah, they're coming up with storylines, and yeah,
Yeah,
which is yeah,
it's just an absolute
yeah.
thing. It's oh
Shall we get into this absolute racist piece? Yeah, let's get
yeah,
let's do this, and then we'll talk about what everybody thinks of the episode, other than
cool.
Frakes, who obviously was clear on that,
Yeah.
as I mentioned from the opening. So
As
let's
a
get
just sorry,
go ahead.
just before we get into that, as just like a quick little design thing, because I'm nerd for design. This was the first episode that had the wireframe holodeck,
Sweet.
which it was. I mean, granted, it was 80s, 90s
Yeah,
ish.
it
They
holds up
still,
even today.
yeah, they still did great with what they had for the time.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, considering what we have now in terms of like what we have with Trek, like this, absolute perfection.
Oh yeah, yeah. Design, even with what they did with Ligonians, except for the racist part, the design's different. Design's solid. Although there's this one lamp that apparently appears in a bunch of episodes that shows up somewhere in here. As soon as it popped on screen, hey, I know that lamp, because I was literally, when we were researching, looking at lamps, and it's this kind of this one that's got these. It's kind of this one that's this ball shaped with tubes popping. If you saw it, you'd recognize it immediately.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of oval shape. It's all made of tubes,
Ah,
but
that
it appears in
actually.
a lot of places. Apparently, several other episodes, and I wasn't able to double confirm it by spotting it in the episode, but even made it as far as Babylon 5.
Damn, that's far as hell, dude.
Yep. Yeah. Completely different universe. So let's get down to this. Uh,
Yeah, let's jump in.
uh, The Enterprise arrives at Lygon for the MacGuffin, a vaccine found on only one planet and needed to cure anchovies fever. I don't know what it's called. It doesn't. Some kind of
And
plague on
chilies, I think
another.
it was.
Yeah, some kind of plague on another planet that we don't really care about because we never see anything involving it. As they go down to the cargo bay, Troy briefs the captain on the Lygonians, who are humanoid, proud, and have a highly structured society. Thankfully, Marina Sirtis doesn't read any of the racial slurs written in the script. Unfortunately, that leaves the rest of the racism as the Lygonians beam into the cargo bay for some reason. Thankfully, not because the transporters on deck 2 are whites only. No, it was so they could beam tribal African stereotypes in the cargo bay and roll out the red carpet for our black African prince type, Lutan. After introing his staff, Lutan is surprised that a woman is chief of security. After some misunderstandings, which involves Yar, a female, taking down Lutan's sexist second, Hagon, they start plotting on Yar, saying she may be just what he needs. After the opening
That's
credits, which I didn't skip because they're not, at least they're not racist, we have our
hell yeah.
usual conference room negotiations. Lutan dismisses his tribal guards and wants to see the holodeck, wanting Yar to show him. Troy looks apprehensive, probably since this is the last time for the next 7 seasons she's not the woman in the crosshairs of something or someone creepy. After more sexism and the most jungle fevery stare you can imagine, they go to the holodeck. Yar probably shows them she can kick the ass of a hollow Aikido guy. Hagon decides to try it and gets his ass kicked. Lutan is not subtle here, or ever. Then, when they're leaving, he kidnaps Yar. Red alert! This is the point at which I'm glad they saved the black alert for Discovery.
I mean, okay, yeah, that.
Yeah.
Every time I think of Black Alert, I now think of getting a text on my phone.
Uh,
But no, I mean, just the opening itself. I mean, almost immediately from the cargo bay scene, you can tell like some. Just had to catch myself there. Some
yeah.
absolute
So Lars doesn't have to bleep too much.
Yeah, exactly. But just from the get go, you can kind of tell that some absolute tomfoolery is about to happen this episode. I mean, even even without like the racist undertones, like just this opening, it's very like, ew.
It's yeah. Let's put it this way. Got wound up to watch this episode. Got to Troy and Picard going down in the thing. It's like, nope, I'm going to watch something else for a minute. Let's put on something good. Let's put on Lower Decks. That'll make me feel better about Star Trek. Then this morning, before I had my busy day, and I was like, I got to watch this. And then I crunched 2 hours through it just to write this. But I got the first part of the teaser written prior. But yeah, it doesn't get any
It,
better. So
it doesn't. It's all downhill from here. Let's be honest.
yeah, oh yeah, and going down fast. So
Snowballing.
we're not going there. Oh, okay. So let's get on with this. We cut to the bridge. Picard, when no one of note answers him for the planet, just the orbital relay, he decides to start shooting torpedoes while Data spouts plenty of useless season 1 Data techno babble. Troy says that all the Ligonian guys were really horny for Yar, but Lutan was also a greedy mother. And everyone agrees that they might as well just wait it out. So they spend the day to stay. Talking can is not I can do. They spend the day probing with their sensors while Lutan is probably probing. Never mind. Crusher then tells Picard that they can use the vaccine, but they can't replicate it, meaning we have to keep watching this episode. But we get some Wesley Crusher slub plot in here. After some prodding by Beverly, Picard goes out on the bridge to find Wesley on the turbo lift. He has Wesley sit down at one of the bridge stations. After that setup, which goes nowhere, we then get some overly obvious exposition from Data because the Ligonians live by a strict code of honor. Say it with me. Roll credits. Please roll credits. Then credits now. Then we get an American Indian reference because we can't be just racist about the darkies, can we? But Picard, the English Frenchman, calls Data out when he mentions counting coup is from French because French is the language of civilization. Please kill me now. They go on to display that this is just Lutan being all that this display is just Lutan being all brave and shit. Thankfully, we don't have to keep going on about his whole primitive code of honor thing, how it all works, because Lutan calls. Crew tells him to ask for Tasha Yar back. Lutan invites him down for a banquet, because why not? Yeah, it's getting worse. You were dead right about that.
Yep.
I don't think we haven't much. There's not a lot of discussion. This is just how bad can this get, and how many racial stereotypes can we see?
I know. I mean, it's like they're talking about Native American stereotypes. Then they're talking about French being a dead language, and then Picard being Picard is like, oh no, it's actually the language of civilization. Don't worry.
Hmm.
They're basic. They're
That would
pretty
have been the
much
best time for Picard to actually use some French.
exactly. But instead, they just decide, oh, we're gonna take this steaming pile of dookie and add another steaming pile of dookie on top. And this is an
yeah,
episode.
whoever wrote, the writers did not do a good job on this. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, granted, the
So
writers.
let's see here. Let's see where we go from here. Okay. The crew has a pointless discussion about whether Picard should go down or not. Only Riker objects, but without the beard and no option to mount a chair during the scene, he's voted down. Some scriptwriter tries for a joke, but only Troy smiles, because they put that in the script. Unfortunately, Picard and Troy beam down to planet Africa, Ligon. We meet Urena, Lutan's first one, with as much soul glow in her hair as you'd expect. Picard wants to see Yar. Lutan wants a banquet. A black-eyed guard, which is actually not a joke that I'm going to make, brings out Yar, who's fine, but the guards are showing signs of wear and tear. And thankfully, not the kind my jokes are made of. It's made clear that Picard gets asked for Yar back at the banquet. So yay. We cut to the banquet on some set, and thankfully, between the budget and the set decorators, we don't get an overtly tribal nightmare. Just a lot of black actors in shiny Africanish dress sitting there smacking some sticks together. Picard asks for Yar back. Lutan says he wants Yar as his first one. Picard calls out his code of honor, and Lutan claims it's an act of love. Urena challenges Yar to a fight to the death. Picard says that shit ain't happen. To which Lutan responds,
"Then you shall have no treaty, no vaccine, and no Lieutenant Yar."
That is the only quotable part of this episode, and nothing else in this episode should ever be shown again.
That's like the only good part of this episode. That one line.
Because we can all say it with the most cliche stereotype tone, and it works. So, back on the ship, Riker says they're probing Lutan's compound. That was nothing. Yar's doing some stretching when Picard and Troy walk in and verbally smack Yar around for being a bit interested in a basic bitch male. Because once you go black, never mind. Riker gets the call that the plague is getting worse. On the planet, after the women tell Picard he should let Yar fight, Picard goes on to talk some more. We discover that Lutan actually, his whole goal is to keep Urena's land and get a nice piece of Yar on the side once Urena's dead. Lutan points out that he wins either way because of that whole code of honor. Picard and Lutan toast to the upcoming bitch fight. This is giving me so many bad vibes, it's not even funny. And one of the things I figured out was this. Part of this, the idea of this, is the plot to a little movie called I can't remember the name of this movie now. It's like one of the first great movies. Hold on. I have
Star
blank.
Wars?
No. What is Birth of a Nation?
I don't think I've heard movie. Of that one.
Where the whole plot of the movie it revolves around the Klan trying to save white women from horny black men.
Okay, no, dude, that's
what I'm getting here at this point. Wants him a white woman.
And
then he gets his black woman killed and gets her land.
At this point, this entire episode is just Klan propaganda. Nothing. This episode is not redeemable whatsoever. Yeah. I am glad Russ Mayberry has been banned from making Star Trek episodes for life.
Yeah.
Or is he still alive? I don't know.
So, hey, the next scene, we got something that isn't racist.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Yeah, because thankfully Geordi doesn't have to really participate in the racism.
Oh, thank goodness. Yeah. My favorite visored boy.
Yeah, let's get there. So, on the Enterprise, we get a totally pointless scene of Geordi shaving while Data tries a bad joke. Unfortunately, then, immediately after that, they get called back into the plot and beamed to the planet, and Michael Dorn is thankful he's not in this episode. Picard wants Data and LaForge to assess the weapons hanging on the wall because apparently those weapons are going to be used. We just don't know which one. Then Data tries to keep the whole joke continuing until we hit the Prime Directive wall as Picard shits on the whole primal tribal black African Ligonian. Say with me, Code of Honor. Yar meets you with Urena, telling her that Starfleet training is going to kick some ass in this one. She probably should just not fight. Urena points out that all women love Lutan. Do you want to know why? We're not going there again.
Is it because he has a big personality?
Thankfully, Yar says she fights for the vaccine, and the scene ends before I can craft the most inappropriate racist dick joke imaginable. We find out that the weapons are poisonous, they're made for women, and still have some blood on them. Also, there's some tubing in the yard, which we don't know anything about yet. Yar struts in, of course, and shares about our convo with Urena, that they're going to have to fight. Data asks if Yar loves Lutan. She says no. And then we remember that the last episode was The Naked Now, where we learn that Yar kicks ass in the fleets, but she's a freak in the sheets. And Data is, yay, here it comes! Fully functional and programmed in multiple techniques! Yay! So Riker informs Picard that they're watching everything now. Everything. And then Hagon shows up with the weapon, the Glaven, a poison-spiked punch glove. And outside, Urena is practicing for the fight. We find out those tubes are just kind of cool things they dance around while swinging at each other with poison spikes.
Well,
yeah, I don't think this was the most racist part, thankfully.
No, it wasn't, but as well, I mean...
We're just setting up for the obvious fight.
It's obviously, like, you know, it's not like you're just thinking, oh, I wonder what's going to happen here. You're just like, oh, wait, no, there's...
Oh, no, Yar could suddenly get killed. Yeah, Yar could suddenly get killed for no reason whatsoever. Thankfully, that's not going to happen.
Exactly. But also, I mean, the Data innuendos, he might as well be in her endo.
Well, he is fully functional.
He's got to be all up in her endo. Oh, Jesus, Patrick.
Okay, I think I'm lying,
dude.
Shit. Okay. I think we're trying to break each other here. This is awesome. Let's get this shit show over. So Wesley comes to sit on the bridge again for absolutely no reason. Data beams up to tell Riker they're going to go with the captain's plans, which of course they never share with us because it's got to involve those poisonous weapons, because what can you do about the poison, Doctor? Blah, 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 and they go off and we don't find anything. Yar shows up in a headband and poisonous punch glove, while Denise Crosby wishes they were instead filming Yar scenes on Turkana 4. Yeah, that planet. Yeah, if you watch season 1, you know what Turkana 4 is. I'm not going to say it. Urena walks out like a prize fighter to the sound of the clackety sticks. Hagon says, let them fight. And they fight. Nothing special here. At some point, though, Urena loses her Glaven, and one of the extra catches it dies, and the actor, with great thanks, gets his ass out of that episode. Combat continues until Yar inevitably wins, though at some point Hagon calls out for Urena, but Lutan doesn't. So as soon as Yar wins, she jumps on the body and hits the comm badge she's had this whole time. The comm badge that could easily pick up and use to talk to her, pinpoint her, etc. A way for her to talk to the ship at any time she chose. So ignoring this plot hole, Crusher gets to saving Urena, who's somehow growing cold in seconds. Like I said, even without the racism, this episode kind of sucks. On the planet, Lutan's just a little bit pissed, except now because Urena's dead, he's got all of her lands. And Picard points out Yar gets to pick if she wants to stay with her African prince. Riker then calls to get the vaccine, which they promptly start loading. Then Picard decides to beam up and beams up, kidnapping Lutan and Hagon. And we discover, surprise, surprise, Urena is still alive.
Woo!
So they argue about what constitutes death, and Urena nopes Lutan and picks Hagon to replace him. So now Hagon's all this shit, and Lutan has his honor, his code of honor. After a last cringy thing about civilization, Picard walks onto the bridge to awkwardly banter with Wesley, who's still sitting there just being a goofy, smiling prop, before asking Riker, why the fuck have they not warped right the hell out of this episode? To which they do so rapidly. The end. This episode sucks.
It does. Do you know what? It's like
This episode's so bad. I'm looking forward to the last outpost with Ferengi that get this close to the goddamn camera and then attack with dildo whips. Please give me more Ferengi dildo whips before I have to watch this episode again.
Okay, here's the thing. I would rather watch Star Trek Into Darkness than this episode.
Well, that movie doesn't exist, so no problem there. But if
exactly.
it did, yeah, I think maybe I could be convinced. No, I couldn't. I don't want it. I want that movie to exist. This, at least, I had fun writing. I at least got some perverse pleasure about writing jokes.
I mean,
yeah. Normally, we'd say, go and watch the episode and see how stupid it is. You don't need to watch this episode because
you really don't.
We both agree this episode sucks complete ass. And what about the actors that were in this episode? What did the actors and people involved in the show say about this piece of shit?
So obviously, as we know, oh, apologies, my throat. Whew. So
yeah,
both
after having to swallow this episode, I get it.
Yeah. So both LeVar Burton and Garrett Wong just outright refuse to say anything nice about this episode. It is just pure, unadulterated hating on this episode, which honestly justified. One of the staff writer, or kind of the head writer, whatever, Tracy Tornay, she said she said that this entire episode was the exact same as the 1940s depiction of African Americans by Amos and Andy. Now, considering I am like in my early 20s, I have no clue what that is, but I'm assuming it's
wasn't good.
really bad.
It was pretty good. Yeah, it's Minstrel Blacks.
Oh Lord, not that. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
now I get it.
Yeah.
Jonathan Frakes, our favorite chair mounting boy, said that it was the worst and most embarrassing episode he has worked on, and then other times he just refers to it as that horrible racist episode.
Yeah, that racist piece of shit, to quote from the beginning. And yeah, he's actually campaigned that this episode should be taken out of the rotation so people don't watch it.
Honestly, it should.
Yeah.
Do you know what? They should give this episode the treatment that the BBC gave to multiple episodes of Doctor Who. Just obliterate it from the face of the earth.
Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with that. Putting a disclaimer before it that this episode contains harmful racial stereotypes and we think this episode sucks, but we're leaving it here because it was recorded and exists.
Yeah.
This is what you shouldn't do when you shoot an episode of Star Trek.
You just take like a good episode, like, oh, I don't know, season finale of season 1 of Discovery, and you'd be like, this is good Star Trek. This is what you can do. And then bad episode, it's just Code of Honor. This is what not to do with Star Trek.
Yeah. I mean, this makes every other progressive failure of TNG, of the Star Trek in general, look good in comparison. Turnabout Intruder looks brilliant in comparison. That's the one where we find out women can't be Starfleet captains.
Oh.
Then, yeah. I mean, take that one. Take any time they got anything queer. they messed that up.
Yeah.
Up through the Berman era, anything queer got messed up terribly. Wasn't until we got to Kurtzman era that we got good representation.
That was kind of one of the perks of the Kurtzman era. That was
Yeah. But yeah, this one is probably the one episode that is wholly irredeemable. Even the most terrible parts of of Discovery and the most indulgently bad stuff of the Kurtzman era still at least had something that was redeemable. This is
This, like, literally in terms of redeemableness, this episode does not hold a candle to the Kurtzman era.
Yeah. This again, Frakes is kind of right that it should be at least disclaimed if it's going to be shown at all.
Yeah. There was also one quote that I found about this episode specifically. Will Wheaton doesn't remember filming this episode.
Well, I think because he might have been a cardboard cutout.
It could have been. Who knows?
Wesley, go sit at this chair. Wesley, go. Riker, Wesley, go sit in the chair. Wesley, get off the bridge. You can come back later.
But so Will
Wheaton had any real lines.
He didn't really. But he doesn't remember doing this episode. And then it wasn't until 2008 when he did an episode of AOL TV where they had him review this episode, right? He said that it was not as overtly racist as I recalled. I mean, it's certainly not as racist as Angel 1 is sexist. Which is...
yeah. I think Roddenberry didn't see it either initially, although he did fire racist McRacy.
Yeah. Racist McRaceberry.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
Russ Mayberry.
Racist Berry. Yeah. Racist Berry. Yeah, we'll call him that.
racist. But I mean, just the entire episode itself.
Yeah, I don't think we're just good to keep rehashing just how bad it is.
It's like at this point it's like beating a dead fish with a it's like beating a dead fish with a phaser.
So yeah, let's go with best thing we can do here. Obviously, if you're watching season 1 TNG, watch The Naked Now, make fun of all the cheesiness, and hear Shaxx yelling naked time. And then go to Ferengi Dildo Whips.
Yeah. Just skip this episode entirely.
Skip. Because that's all we have now for Star Trek's most racist episode and absolutely TNG's worst. Did we get it right? Did we miss anything racist? Do you agree, disagree? Let us know. Unless, of course, you want to argue that this episode is not a racist piece of shit, in which case you might be racist yourself, and you probably shouldn't even be a Star Trek fan. Seriously. That's what we're dealing with.
If you're going to be racist, go be a Battlestar Galactica fan.
Oh, come on. I'm watching the reboot. That's kind of fun.
The reboot's good, but the original...
I don't know. I grew up on the original because I'm old. You have to remember that was born in post. That was born in the era just after Star Wars is when that came to air. So, thank you for joining us here on Treknicity. We're do the deep dive into all things in the Star Trek universe. I'm your host, Patrick Murray. With me, my co-host, Kat Drake. And big thanks to Lars back on the boards, making all the magic happen. Like right now. There we go. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Treknicity.com, as well as visiting us on all of our socials listed over here. I'll figure out which direction. That direction.
Oh, wait, nope. There we go.
I'll point in all directions, then I'm wrong. Not wrong.
My camera's flipped, so it's over here though. Go take a look.
Yep. As well as visiting us all or find us on your favorite podcast service, which my sister is actually trying to do today, such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. If you have any ideas for future episode subjects, please feel free to drop a comment in this video or DM us on any of them social media accounts. And as always, rock out with your Spock out. See you next time.